So as of the recording of this video, you can count the amount of days left until you are able to have the new Nintendo Switch in your hands. And the hype is legit. I can't tell you how excited I am to finally get my hands on a brand new Switch. So just in case you haven't been tracking, the new Nintendo Switch is going to be released on June 5th, and it's going to be Nintendo's newest next generation console for who knows how long. So fun fact, the original Nintendo Switch was released in 2017, March 2017 to be specific. And that seems like a lifetime ago in terms of technology lifespan. Anyways, if you're like me, you may want to be able to protect your Nintendo Switch. I posted a video not too long ago, and it was pretty much a video saying, here are the accessories, boom, it's in your face. And in this video, I'm going to be going over an everyday carry accessories that you need that fits every situation. Some of these accessories I've already discussed in a previous video. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and make sure you watch that one next. I'll put it right here. And I will also introduce you to some other accessories that you may have already. And last but not least, some of the accessories in the box that I just showed you are actually going to be ranging from cheap to really expensive. Let's go ahead and get started. Make sure to check the link in the description box below. But this is going to be the basis of everything that you're going to put all of your Nintendo Switch 2 accessories in. Now, because the Nintendo Switch 2 is so portable, Nintendo themselves are actually selling different versions of their own kind of backpack like this. If you go on Amazon, you could probably type in Nintendo Switch 2 or handheld gaming bag, and you'll see probably thousands of different bags. But this is the one that I chose, mainly because I like the TomTalk version or the TomTalk branding, and it's actually pretty simplistic inside. So when you think about accessories and gaming on the go, the first thing is almost always going to be your bag. The next thing we're going to be talking about is going to be a case. So this is a TomTalk case. I'm going to unbox it really quick. Super simple. It's just a Ziploc. And you can see that this is actually pretty slim. So this is going to be a very kind of slim design case. It is a hard shell case. You can see that it does have a little bit of flex, but you can see how thin it is comparatively to the JStock case I showed in the previous video. When you open it up, you can see that there's going to be some game cartridge sections over there. The silica gel fell out. Don't let your cats, dogs, mantises, bats, rats, gerbils, giraffes, don't let them eat this stuff. It's not good for them. But back onto the case, you can actually see where the game cartridges will actually be living. You can see that TomTalk put some kind of cardboard casing in here just to kind of be there for placements. And then inside here, it's actually really soft with indentions for the actual kind of thumbsticks. And then there's this little flap right here, which then is going to be where the Nintendo Switch is going to be living. One thing that this case does not offer is going to be the fact that it doesn't have any space for you to have your Nintendo Switch charger. But I have a solution for your Nintendo Switch charging needs, so stay tuned. Now that we have our case here and then we have our bag, essentially all we would have to do is kind of put two and two together. You would take your case and then you would put it inside of your bag like so. Now this case may be a little bit too big for this bag, but like I said, there's a bunch of other bags out there that you could actually put this type of case in. Speaking of cases, we have the Spigen Nintendo Switch 2 case. This is going to be a slimline case that you could actually put inside of the hard case like so, but also you could put inside this bag right here. All right, so inside of the Spigen case, again, this is for the Nintendo Switch 2. This is the Nano Pop Spigen case. You all know I love my Spigen cases. So there's a little tongue at the top here. We're just gonna pull that open, and there's a little bit of plastic here. So I don't have my unboxing stuff here since I'm in a coffee shop. And I'm just gonna kind of open it up like that and pull the contents out. Nothing else inside of the box. But you can see here that there is going to be pretty much a few things. So these are going to be little stickers that you would adhere to the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Con, and they would then essentially be inside of here. So you can see that these little stickers right here are actually the same exact stickers that you see inside of the Joy-Con controller. Again, this is to make sure that the Joy-Con doesn't slip out of the case. And so obviously you would have your two Joy-Cons like so, and then these stickers would be there to make sure that they are adhering to the Joy-Con. This portion here is then going to be the actual Switch case. You can see here that there is a little bit of a hard shell. This is actually going to go over the actual Switch's body. And then there's actually a dedicated kickstand here. So if you can imagine in your mind's eye, it would go something like this. And so this little smaller piece, this individual piece, would go onto the actual Nintendo Switch kickstand, and then it would go kind of like this. I promise I'll do a video that makes this all kind of make sense in the future. But overall, I like this case. It is going to be a little bit more flexible, but it's not going to be like flimsy and not protect your Nintendo Switch 2. So combining it all together, you could put your Nintendo Switch 2 in something like this, and then you could have it sitting in something like this, because this will actually fit inside of the actual case, like so, right? So here you can have your Joy-Con, you can have your other Joy-Con, and then you could close it like that. But on the flip side, you can have this, let's say our Nintendo Switch 2 is in here, you could then put it into the bag like so, or the satchel is what I like to call it. I don't know the official term, so if you do know this official term for these type of cross-body sling bag type things, leave a like and comment down below, so that way I can use that naming convention in the future. But again, here we have our mock Switch 2, and then we would just slide it in there, and then we'd be able to have our Nintendo Switch 2 super ultra protected. Yeah, so forgive me, the lighting is not the best here. I am in a coffee shop, as you can tell over here. And also forgive me if the audio is a little bit different, because I'm not in a controlled studio space like I normally would be. But in the spirit of audio, I do have some solutions for you when it comes to using your Nintendo Switch 2 in public. So in regards to audio, the first thing I'm going to recommend is some type of Bluetooth headphones. Unlike the Switch 1, there was not Bluetooth compatibility right from the launch. But with the Switch 2, the Bluetooth compatibility is rumored, obviously nothing confirmed yet, but the Bluetooth functionality is supposed to be active right out of the box. And so that's why I recommend having some type of headphones. These are my Bose headphones, and I love these headphones. I use them for conference calls, I use them for gaming. There's a whole bunch of reasons to have these Bose headphones. But you don't necessarily have to have Bose, because they are actually pretty pricey. But these can actually run a few $100s, and these are a few years old. So if you're going to be buying the latest and greatest headphones from Bose or Sony, you could probably tack on a few extra $100 to your Nintendo Switch 2 accessory list. But no one really has that type of money. So let's go ahead and talk about a more economical one, which is going to be a $30 headphone, which I found on Amazon. Honestly, it's I don't even actually know how to spell the name. It's Ozino. If you've used this before, let me know in the comments below. All right, so here we have the Ozino. This is the gaming headset. Something that actually pulled me into this is the fact that there are two means of connectivity. You have like a USB, so you could actually use this with your computer or your PlayStation 5 or any other type of gaming device that has a USB-A, and then also via Bluetooth. Another thing is the fact that this USB function has a adapter for USB-A or USB-C. So you can see here at the bottom, it is 2.4 gigahertz of wireless modes, and then you're able to actually see the different types of devices and consoles you can go and use this with. Here you can see that there's nothing else inside of the box. But you actually have the headphones right here, very loosely packed, which I guess is, I'm not complaining about that. You have the headphones itself, and then you have some of the wires and accessories. So the thing about this that I really love is the fact that it does have a mic. Anyone who watches my videos knows that I have a regular 9-to-5 corporate job, and so I could actually use this as a dual purpose, maybe even a triple purpose headset, because like I said, I can use this USB adapter and I can plug this into the Nintendo Switch with the USB-C function right here, which is super cool. Or I could just use this USB-A section right there, and that could then be plugged into my TV, my PS5, any other devices like my computer. And the fact that this mic can actually be hidden is actually another plus. So I've never actually used these headphones before. I don't know what they sound like. They are adjustable, but so far the little padding on top here is actually really nice. And then I believe these actually light up with LED lights as well. You then have some connectivity buttons and some volume buttons, Bluetooth, or using the USB section here. We have a toggle button there. And then these pads on the ears, they actually feel really good. So for the price, for $30 on Amazon, I actually can't say it's too bad, but the look and feel is only one portion of the actual headphones. Whenever I get my Nintendo Switch 2, I'll have to do an audio review for this as well. These do charge using USB-C, and then based off of the other packaging here, it looks like there is a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So I'm not quite sure where the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack is. Oh, actually, you know what? The 3.5 millimeter headphone jack is actually going to plug into the Nintendo Switch or the PS5 controller, and the other section, the USB-C section, would then ultimately plug into this right here. All right, so we've gone over casing, we've gone over audio, but now let's go and get talking about some other accessories. Some of them may actually be a little bit more expensive. All right, so my girlfriend and I are here in beautiful Poulsbo, Washington today. And if you have your brand new Nintendo Switch, which is again going to be here in less than 5 days, you already know that I recommend you having a satchel or a bag. And then also, I obviously recommend that you always have a case in some type of manner, because trust me when I tell you that the Nintendo Switch can definitely take some damage, and you want to kind of avoid that as much as you can. You then have your audio equipment. Again, these are my Bose ones, but then you may actually have the other ones like this. And so honestly, either way, you're not going to go wrong, so long as the earbuds are Bluetooth, or maybe you have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So there are no records out there yet that say that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to last X amount on battery life alone. And so that's where my next solution is. If you're on the go and you have an everyday carry bag or satchel like this, and you are using it mainly for Nintendo Switch, or maybe you're using it for traveling or whatever, I'd highly recommend that you get an Anchor or some type of portable battery pack. This Anchor one is actually going to be powerful enough for you to be able to charge all different sorts of devices, like your MacBook Pro, your cell phones, your Nintendo Switch 2, and just other things. So I'm going to go and unbox this really quick so that way you know if this is going to be the best solution for you for on-the-go Nintendo Switch 2 gaming. So the reason why I recommend this Anchor portable battery charge is because it has single port charging for 100 watts, which is really, really fast. It can charge 4 devices all at once, and then it has an LED screen built on it. Another thing about this is that I believe it has 2 wires attached to it, so that way you never have to worry about having to have wires in your pocket or your purse, because it comes with it. I actually snagged this Anchor deal for $125, and then it came with an extra kind of promo Anchor Zolo battery port. This one probably isn't strong enough to charge the Nintendo Switch in and of itself, but this one surely can. You can't go wrong with having additional batteries. So here we have our bigger Anchor one. You can see the size difference here. Let's go ahead and unbox this. So one of the more expensive accessories that you get for mobile gaming platforming is going to be these. These are not regular sunglasses. They may look like regular sunglasses. In fact, they're actually Xreal, or historically known as Nreal, augmented reality glasses. This is the very first version of the augmented reality glasses by Xreal. And so these are going to have a little bit of a USB-C section over here, which is going to be where you attach the USB into the Nintendo Switch, and it would be USB-C to USB-C. The reason why I recommend these, albeit they are a little bit more expensive, is because you can see here that there's going to be like a little bit of a white plastic. That's actually the augmented reality lens. So when you actually have these attached to your cell phone, your Nintendo Switch, your PlayStation 5, what have you, when you have it connected via USB-C to whatever device, this actually projects a really large screen on top of your eyes. I actually made a video about these previously on the channel, so I'll put that link down in the description box below. But essentially, when you do this, your Nintendo Switch, your 7.9-inch screen on your Nintendo Switch 2, or whatever the size the screen is going to be, is going to go from this small little rectangle to this expansive display that you see within the augmented reality glasses. So that's where it gets interesting, is because when you're out and about, you're no longer limited to just having your Nintendo Switch display, you're actually having it all right here. These are a little bit expensive. They cost a few $100s, and this is the oldest version, so I would imagine that the newest version costs way more. So that's where things get interesting, is because you have these expansive displays on your eyes, but then you can still see what's going on around the world. So let's say in a situation where you're on a ferry or a plane or a train or wherever it is, you're out in public doing something, but you want to have that expansive display from playing your Nintendo Switch, you can have that with these and still see what's going on around you. Now, if that's not what you're wanting, these specific models actually have this little blackout display, which then you would place onto your glasses like so, and then basically that means I can't see anything anymore. So I'm literally talking to whatever the black portion of these little plastic covers are. But once I take it off, you can then see that I can see you, and then you can then ultimately see me. Again, these are the Xreal AR glasses. Since I purchased these, the company went through a name change. Now they're called Xreal. And Xreal is actually one of the augmented reality manufacturers that Google is working with for their future development with augmented reality. Whenever you purchase any of these augmented reality glasses, you're naturally going to receive a case, and then your glasses, your accessories, your USB-C, it'll all fit inside of this case. Obviously, it's not fitting because I didn't organize it, but ultimately this and all the kind of accessories to make it work are all going to fit inside of this small pill bottle shaped glass case. Now, full disclosure, I do want to state that these augmented reality glasses, maybe all augmented reality glasses, as of 2025 at least, they don't have any kind of battery or any type of Bluetooth connection. They do have speakers, they do have adjustable brightness, but these augmented reality glasses and similar ones in 2025 are not independent. They are not like the Ray-Ban Metas where you're able to ask Meta to do this or identify that. They are solely dependent on displaying whatever they're connected to via that USB-C port. So the last and arguably one of the most important things that you should be carrying for your Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be one of these. Now, this is going to be a regular microSD card. I use this for one of my cameras, but there is going to be a brand new type of microSD card. It's going to be called a microSD card Express or something like that. And that's going to be the one that's exclusively going to work with your Nintendo Switch 2. If you have a whole bunch of these smaller microSD cards laying around the house, I don't think that these normal SD cards are actually going to work. And that's why Nintendo really kind of hones down and hammers down the fact that it has to be a microSD card Express. And because it's on the newer side of technology, they're actually pretty much sold out anywhere and everywhere that you may need to find them, like Amazon or Target's, Best Buy. I think Nintendo is going to have some proprietary Express SD cards on launch day, but if you're not able to capture one of the Express SD cards, then the Nintendo Switch 2 does have 256 gigabytes of built-in storage. I actually have an order from Amazon, a microSD Express card, and even with Prime, it's still going to get here in like mid-July. So that should give you a little bit of understanding of the microSD Express card and how hard it's going to be to find them. In regards to this microSD card, I highly suggest that you just wait for them to become more easily accessible, unless you're like dying to have additional external storage through this microSD Express card. Do not go to eBay or any of these other websites and get scalped by the people who are inflating the price by like hundreds because they're trying to capitalize on the market.
Okay, so that was what I would call a pretty adventurous day. I went across the different places in Pulsbo and I literally kind of just put a box together with everything that I think is necessary for you to have a successful everyday carry satchel or pouch or whatever you want to call it for your Nintendo Switch. Now, I do want to state that this video wasn't super comprehensive because there are accessories that I didn't mention, like a screen protector, maybe some skins, the thumb pads. But in terms of just like everyday carry things, if you're that person who's going to get on a train in the morning, maybe a ride share, or maybe you are a frequent traveler and you're flying across the country and you've brought along your new Nintendo Switch, there's nothing quite like knowing that you have everything you need in one little thing. Alright everybody, I hope you found this video helpful. I actually had a lot of fun making it. I think I'm going to do more videos like this in the future, but if you could, hit like and subscribe down below. It really helps YouTube kind of spread my videos around the YouTube algorithm, which then gives me external validation to keep on making videos. And so I mean, really, that's what it is, right? External validation, and you can make my day. Before I let you go, the giveaway or the raffle for the Nintendo Switch 2 Accessory is still live, so make sure if you want to qualify for that, for the free Nintendo Switch 2 Accessory, hit like and subscribe. You have to be publicly subscribed so that way I can see you, and then make sure you leave a comment letting me know what's your ultimate favorite Nintendo game of all time ever. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.